Hi, Carlos. Welcome to the Impact Revolution channel. Thank you so much for coming. How are you doing?
Hi Yoshi, I'm very good. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Thank you so much for making time. So, Carlos, how this works is that normally I ask a couple of questions that are a bit personal, so the audience knows you a bit more, and then later we can go more to the professional like questions. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
All right, cool. So, Carlos, you live in one of my favorite countries, okay, Colombia. So, if you could wake up any Sorry, Carlos. That's happened again. I don't know why. Sorry. So, if you could wake up
Yeah, I'm
anywhere
back.
in the world tomorrow, Carlos, where it will be and why?
That's a tough question to start with. I have many places in my list, but I think when I wake up every morning in Bogota, I'm really grateful because I'm here.
Uh-huh.
We were just talking about offline about the weather here and how it's really crazy because we don't have seasons. We only have one season, which is rainy season all year, and we only
Uh-huh.
get a couple of months of sun. But we were talking about that and the times back in during the pandemic, and I was just remembering how even though it was really bad for the humanity back then,
Uh-huh.
those were really good times to be in Bogota and to get to actually be grateful about the city and what Colombia is giving us. Colombia
Mm.
is one of the most amazing markets in Latin America right now
Uh,
for the startup ecosystem, not only in
mm.
the fintech environment but also in energy tech, ed tech, e-commerce. So
Mm.
I feel really grateful to be living in Bogota right now and to get a chance to wake up every morning and feel the cold, but also listen to the birds and look outside the windows and look at the mountains and
That's right.
realize that I'm living in a great city with a
Uh-huh.
vibrant ecosystem in terms of
Uh,
startup.
I love Bogota. I love Bogota, and I like to walk into these cerros, right? Cerros.
The cerros,
Was
yeah.
good. It's nice, cool. All right. The second question, Carlos, will be, someone who really admires you and knows you very well, Carlos. How will define who is Carlos Patiño?
Well, I think that will be my wife. I mean, we talk a lot
Uh-huh.
about this, and we
All right.
admire each other, and because of what we do and the people that who we are. I mean, we are really sensitive people, and
Okay.
we work really hard for like personal goals, but we also have in mind like more social kind of goals. So everything we do is always based on the fact that we are here for a reason and then we have to give back to the world. I mean,
Mm,
we love to say to each other that we want to leave the world, and once we do it, when we do it, we want to make sure it's a little bit better than it was before we were here.
uh-huh.
So I think that's the main reason why we admire each other. And if you ask
Uh,
her, I'm sure she's gonna tell you that.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Carlos. And that goes to the next question. Like, what is your why? Why do you do what you do, Carlos?
I think my why is something that I have been doing since I was a little kid. I
Okay,
always dreamed about building stuff. Actually,
okay,
when I was in high school and thinking about what to study,
uh-huh,
I always thought about like career that involved creating stuff. I ended up deciding to go for like economics because I was very interested back then in economics, and I'm still are.
uh-huh,
But my career progression has shown me that my real why is to create stuff, to build new things, and I think that's the reason why I'm right now working in the product
mm,
area, because I love to build stuff. I love to tackle problems
uh-huh.
and come up help people come up with solutions to solve them. So yeah, I will say my why is to create and to solve issues.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I was thinking, as a product officer that you are, Carlos, what are the main challenges that you normally face, or what are the biggest ones that you have faced already?
I think the top challenge that you face when you are building product is the managing of the resources.
Sure.
You will always have limited resources, and even though you want to build the world and build it twice, there's always going to be limited resources and but unlimited desires and expectations. So not only managing resources but also managing expectations and making sure
A good
all
point.
people is aligned into building or working towards the towards a shared vision. I'm a
Hmm.
before being an economist and now a product guy. I define myself as a strategy purist, and I love talking about strategy all the time. I think
Hmm.
people in my company right now are kind of bored about me talking about vision and strategy and value proposition and capability system because those are terms that I use
Uh-huh.
all the time in all the conversations I have because I want to make sure people understand that if you want to build something, you have to have a why,
Uh-huh.
and that why is a statement that tells you what to focus on and what to leave behind because it's not going to help you with that why. So yeah, that's kind of the hardest thing, and that's the stuff in which I tend to focus the more,
Uh-huh.
managing expectations and managing resources.
Okay, great. No, that makes a lot of sense, Carlos. And just as an example, what is the strategy or the vision that you are pushing forward now? If that's okay, Carlos.
Well, we're kind of working in a shared vision. I don't want to. I don't like to think about it as a person pushing something
Sure,
because the
sure. Yeah,
vision has to be
yeah.
something that is created um,
Co-created,
in
definitely.
a in a in a in a
Hmm.
shared way, not only co-created but also you have to feel it.
Uh-huh.
So when you think about co-creation, you think about like, okay, I'm gonna add this portion of it, I'm gonna add this portion of it, and then
Uh-huh.
we sum it all and we have a co-created stuff. When you
Uh-huh.
think about vision, you have to think about consensus.
Uh-huh.
and
Consensus, that's right.
and the vision that we have right now at VIA is basically we want to be leaders in the energy sector next year by actually changing the way people interact with energy, and
Uh-huh.
that's basically helping them reduce energy consumption. We were talking about this before, and
Uh-huh.
for most at the household level is it is an issue, but it's not still an issue that people has embedded into their belief system.
Hmm.
But for companies, energy costs are really important. In some cases are the second biggest cost they face after payroll.
Yes.
So for companies, energy is really important, and helping them optimize their consumption is a big challenge. And we at BIA we want to help with that. We want to use
Mm.
technology and analytics and advanced machine learning to help companies reduce their energy consumption and produce more with
Mhm.
by spending actually less energy and saving in energy costs.
Definitely. No, it sounds amazing, the project that you're leading, guys. And I was wondering, how, so that's the vision. How is going to, or what is the current plan for you guys to implement this vision, right? Or to achieve this vision, to be
Well,
leaders.
we are
Hmm.
actually already implementing it.
Hmm.
We sell energy, we provide energy to our customer base, but we,
Hmm.
but we also provide them with a platform that helps them understand their consumption in real time. So we
Hmm.
use a smart meter, which is basically an energy meter that is digital and has communication capabilities. So we can gather real time data on consumption, and we can expose that data to our customers in an easy way. Like we also
Uh-huh.
care about a lot about experience, like customer experience and user experience. So we don't want to bug them with a lot of information and complicated terms. We want to help them understand and change the way they understand energy, which can be a really complicated concept for many of our customers. So we
Sure.
use technology, we use that hardware, and we use our technology, which is basically in-house algorithms that allow us to understand those consumption patterns,
Hmm.
identify anomalies or inefficiencies, and tell them back via notifications and alerts and recommendations what can they do to reduce their energy consumption.
Mm, great, great, awesome. I was wondering, in those years that you've been working on VR, right? What are the main lessons learned from your side in order to have a effective, product development process and managing process?
I think in terms of lessons, I think one of the most important lessons that I have
Mm-hmm.
right now
Yes,
is
Carlos.
that you have to spend a lot of time understanding the problem that you want to solve,
Mm.
and but and get obsessed with the problem and not the solution you come up with first in the first place, after a couple of minutes of thinking about the problem.
Uh-huh.
So because we are in a fast pace and we need to develop a lot of stuff quickly. I mean, when you think about development times in a startup, you think about weeks. two
Mm,
weeks are a lot. So,
that's right.
so at this fast pace, you tend to sacrifice the discovery phase, and you tend
Mm,
to go and test quickly the first or the second idea you come up with, and that the stakeholders and the people involved in the discovery process feel okay with. So you rely on a lot of experimentation and quick testing to make
mhm,
sure those ideas get iterated really fast, and that's okay. That's actually the way it should be
mhm,
done in a startup environment. But in some cases, when you think about really big problems, or when you think about how to come up with a totally different product, you really need to give a couple of steps back and sit down and relax and process the problem with more time and with more inputs and insights. And that's where when the expectations comes into place. You need to manage expectations, because your co-founders
uh-huh,
want everything developed right now and solved. But in some cases, it's like balancing a portfolio, or an investment portfolio. You have high risk assets, maybe stocks, or maybe an investment in a startup, but you also have like safe investments, like a
bonds. Yeah,
like a bond or a deposit or a fixed rate
sure.
deposit. So you need to balance that portfolio and make sure you know where you're putting your time in that case, which is your money and your effort.
And
And but
resources,
for
right?
those high risk, high return initiatives, you have to give them a little more time to think about it, because you want to make sure you abandon them at the right time, and you don't spend much money or much time in those particular initiatives. So yeah, it's kind of a mix between science and art, or in terms of balancing that kind of portfolio of initiatives.
Uh-huh. Very interesting. You share a very good point, Carlos, I think, because as you say, this design thinking and this rapid wall of getting things done, experimenting, testing, validating in the market. And then the other side, which is, okay, if we go too fast, maybe we are not solving even the right problem, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, how do you balance that on a daily basis, right? I was curious, what did you manage to come up with like a framework or something,
I think the answer is a mix between frameworks, which are really really traditional and mainstream, but also
Mhm.
the right team. You have to have
Mhm.
a diverse team, because if you have people that is only focused on like quick paced and fast delivery,
Mhm.
you're gonna be in a at one point of the spectrum, and
You will be in
I,
a conflict every day.
but if you have a bunch of academics that want to think about a problem for 6 months, like if they were doing a PhD, or maybe 2 years, then nothing's gonna happen. But if you have a
Yeah,
mix of people, the right
that's
mix of
right.
people from different backgrounds, like I love to work with people from the psychology background or the social sciences background, but also I love to work with tech people and business people, MBAs or economists, because you get that nice balance, and like everyone is pulling and pushing to to different directions, and at the end you kind of get the system in a sense of equilibrium, which
Uh-huh.
is which is not an equilibrium itself, because it's actually creating stuff. So you get out of that chaos, you get a nice way of creating stuff. It's like a creative chaos.
All right, very good. I love it. Creative chaos. Awesome. All right, and in doing this, what have been, the best lessons or the best practices, practical ones that you could may share with us today, Carlos, in regarding to this point?
In terms of like teams.
Coordinating, yeah, managing, and making these things that you just share work and effectively, right? Hmm.
Well, I go back to the vision. I mean, I think that the biggest responsibility for a
Hmm.
C-level person in the product
Sorry.
side is to make sure the vision is clear and it's aligned with the stakeholders up there, with the co-founders, with the VCs, with everyone. And make sure you communicate that constantly, because that's the only way this chaos is going to be creating stuff that is focused on what you need to get done, and not
Uh-huh.
stuff that is going to be nice and cool, but it's
Hmm.
going to be able to scale up or to bring revenue and bring growth. So yeah, I think in terms of managing, it is a mix of autonomy, like let people do their job,
Hmm.
but at
Hmm.
the same time make sure they get the vision right, and make sure you over communicate that vision constantly. So
Yeah,
in,
I
in,
like that, and that goes aligned with the expectation you say before, right? That everybody has clear expectation of what is expected of each one, right? I
yeah,
like it. Yeah, love it. All right, very good. Thank you, Carlos. We have 12 minutes left. It's been quite a valuable experience already. And I was wondering, what are the current challenges that you guys are facing or you're facing in terms of, making an impact, and become the leaders in your field?
I think the challenge is always going to be like
Mm-hmm.
traction and growth. We have been growing a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time that growth kind of backfires because it starts to surface some issues that you need to fix. And since you're being too focused on creating something very disruptive, you left behind some of the basics. So I think for every startup, the
Mm-hmm.
challenge is always going to be, once they reach certain stage in their growth path, to just look back and take a look at what kind of stuff they left behind undone, or with some technical debt, and go back and fix it really quick before getting
Uh-huh.
back to business, and maintain that growth path that is so important. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's something that most of the time happens to startups, because they don't have the resources to cover all the bases.
Sure.
So yeah, it's in terms of challenges, I think that's our biggest challenge now, and that's the stuff we're working on right now, like fixing a couple of stuff that needs to be done, and so we can quickly go back to our product development, and make sure we keep on disrupting the energy sector, which is something that we want to do constantly. We don't want to stop doing that.
Uh-huh. Beautiful. All right. Very good. Thank you, Carlos. Yes, and I was wondering, because you were an economist, right? And then you found out this product development now, right? So it's not something that could be, looking backwards, something that could have been expected, but it's something that you felt, right? So I was wondering, when was that time or point in your life that you say, okay, I want to do something different?
Well, when I started as an economist, like 15, 17 years ago, I
Uh-huh.
really loved numbers and statistics. Actually, I before being an economist, my first years of work experience were at the forecasting, like econometric stuff and statistics. So I was always involved with numbers and statistics and
Uh-huh.
models and predictive modeling. And by working on that and studying a lot more, I found out back then, this was 2005. I mean, people weren't talking about that. Back then, people weren't talking about data science or big data or machine learning. They were talking about statistics and econometrics. And there was
Sure.
something called data mining that us econometricians looked at it with some resentment, because we thought it was like black magic. So
Mhm.
I got really interested into that, and I started studying about that, and that's when I decided to switch my career, move from the pure macroeconomic forecasting
Uh-huh.
and get into more like a customer behavior modeling. And
Uh-huh.
I did my master's at Carnegie Mellon in
Okay.
Pittsburgh. When I finalized that master's, I started working for one of the biggest banks in the US, working on customer behavior and customer analysis, doing a lot of machine learning on huge amounts of customer data. And
That's very
after
interesting.
that, I came back to Colombia, and I
Mhm.
kept doing the same thing. But data science and machine learning and data engineering evolved a lot in the last 10 to 15 years, because we kind of got more specialized. Back
Okay.
then, we used to do everything. Now, data scientists focus on machine learning and statistics, and we have engineering power to build pipelines and build models and productize these models. So when I started working on that evolution, that's when I found out that machine learning and data science was more than just basic models and statistics, and it was more about creating solutions, data solutions. So
Mm.
kind of clicked on me, because that's when I felt, okay, I love doing this, because I'm basically creating stuff. It's based on data and algorithms, but I'm creating stuff. So my previous experience prior to coming to VIA, I worked for a digital bank, and my role was I was the leader in the data analytics area, but I did create a lot of stuff, and I got really involved. I got really close to the product team, and we kind of started working together in making sure all the stuff they wanted to do was backed by an insight, or by a product we kind of developed. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
it was really plain and easy just to keep moving towards product, because at the end it is creating stuff. And at BIA we create product which is basically data product, because
Yeah,
we are
data analysis,
our
right?
customer information and consumption data to come up with algorithms to create product features that help them with their with their consumption.
All right, very good. Thank you so much for sharing that story. It's very interesting, Carlos. I was wondering, we have 5 minutes left, all right? So, this is about creating impact and to redefine the business mindset. Okay, so it's about changing our mindset of how we deal with businesses, and to create, like you say in the start, more something beyond ourselves, right? Like more on a social impact, like what I think BI is doing, right, with the energy consumption, and reframing how people interact with energy.
Mhm.
So I was wondering, is there anything else you would like to share that we haven't covered, Carlos, regarding that?
Well, I think something really interesting that not only relates to making impact and social impact, but also
Uh-huh.
to making impact overall. And it's something that I have found out during my time at VIA, and getting closer to the like the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Colombia.
Sure.
And that's something that really amazes me when I talk to these people. It's the ambition they have to change
Mm,
stuff. I mean, they don't want to be stopped by anyone. And when they have a vision and they have an ambition, they are ruthless in the way they deliver it. And I think that's something we lack a lot in Latin America. We tend to be like, oh yeah, this is something that cannot be done, and
mm,
maybe somebody in the US will think about it, or maybe somebody in Europe will think about it. We just get back to our day to day, and because we are happy the way it is. And when we start seeing people in Mexico, in Brazil, in Colombia, in Chile, in Peru, in Panama, in Costa Rica, getting tired about that kind of mindset, and staying in a different mindset, it is
mm,
something that really impresses me,
totally.
amazes me, and fills me with hope, because I see a new generation of people that is just fed up with the way things are right now, and are
Uh-huh.
taking control of stuff, and taking charge in terms of the solution is in their hands, and
Yeah.
they don't want to be stopped by anyone. So it's really amazing to be nearby these guys.
Yeah, you give me goosebumps. I love it. Yeah, it's true. It's time for the revolution, and it's time to change things, I think. And, redefine the mindset of many people, and stop conforming with what we have been given, and challenging those stuff, right? Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. I would love to ask you a question now. I normally do this at the end. If you could leave a big message or a message to the whole world, Carlos, in the clouds or in a big letter or whatever, what message would you leave?
I think connected to what I just said, it will be change stuff.
Change stuff.
Don't don't live the way that don't live comfortable. Change stuff, and
Uh,
sacrifice to make things better.
don't live comfortable. Yeah, I like that. It's to be uncomfortable with the comfortable.
Yeah,
That's what we say in our programs. Uncomfortable with the uncomfortable.
yeah.
All right, very good, Carlos. I love it. I just, we have 1 minute and a half left, so I don't know if there is anything else that you would like to share as a closing comments.
No, I'm just very happy to be here, and I thank you again for inviting me. It was really nice
Thank you to you,
conversation.
Carlos. No, thank you to you for sharing your time. Very good points, and yeah, hopefully we can catch up again soon, Carlos. Thank you so much.
Great, great.
Talk to you
Thank you.
soon. Talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, Josie.
Ciao. Adiós, Carlos.